Some women cannot get enough of men who have power, who have money and influence. But when it comes to celebrities, some women get sucked into a world of star obsession that they cannot resist. My first guest is the author of the controversial New York Times bestseller, Confessions of a Video Vixen. Karrine Steffans may not be a household name, but if you watch hip-hop videos, you may feel you know her at least by sight.
I just remember growing up and wanting to be in Hollywood, where all the stars were.
But when she went public with her story as a hip-hop arm charm, she revealed a lot more than skin. The result was Confessions of a Video Vixen, a tell-all book that landed Karrine on the New York Times bestseller list. And in a lot of hot water with some of the biggest celebrities in music and in Hollywood.
I've had intimate relationships with a lot of people in the industry. A-list actors, directors, musicians, NFL.
She's making news, she's naming names.
Jack was a very generous man. Josh stayed with me for a year. Ice-T put me in that condo, and Vin Diesel, brief, but yeah. The Four Seasons, Beverly Hills Hotel, Hermitage, Polo Lounge, W, the Bel Air, living it up. Artists always liked me because I made that particular scene really hot. I had celebrity relationships, and I would use those to get the jobs because I needed that $2,500 a day to pay my $5,000 worth of bills.
And when the camera was turned off, it seemed her posturing for fame was not. And Kiss and Tell Karrine generated a new kind of heat in the press.
I don't know, Karrine, you have angered a lot of folks and a lot of folks' wives. I think a lot of people are uncomfortable, but the things that I left out are way bigger than the things that I put in.
But you keep running from stuff. Like, I wasn't even gonna get at you like that. You know what I mean? But you got problems, B. You can't keep running.
But this video vixen makes no apologies for outing her famous lovers. Some were husbands or fathers. She says it's her story to tell. And as for the men who paid for her life in the fast lane, she says she's kept their secrets long enough.
I just told the truth, and there's a good feeling knowing that you told the truth.
Please welcome Karrine Steffans to the show. So Karrine, I have to admit, I read your book from cover to cover, and I know that you named a lot of names. Why don't you tell us some of the people that you name in the book?
Well, I just want to say, too, it's not a tell-all. I left a lot of things out for a lot of good reasons.
So it's a tell-a-lot.
It's a tell-some. It's not even a lot.
Okay.
It's just a small part. You know, there are the names that you all know. There's the Ja Rules and the Vin Diesels, the Shaquilles, I don't know, whoever.
And you're saying you had sex with all the men that you just named?
Yes.
So why did you write this book?
Well, initially when I started writing the book, it was for my own purpose. I had gone through a lot. Because the book isn't about sex, and it's not about hip-hop, and it's not about rappers. It's about my journey from being an abused child to being raped as a young child to being, you know, going through spousal abuse, a young mother, and then getting into that, and then having to, you know, almost dying with a drug overdose. And then once I began to heal myself, close to about 4 years ago, I really had to figure out what happened to me in order for me to heal. I had to admit it to myself, what I did.
But you had to know that naming the names and talking about the sexual exploits is what was going to put the book, you know, at the top of New York's best-selling list. I mean, it's number 5 on the best-selling list in New York Times right now.
Yeah, it is, and we're number 3 at the Washington Post, and we're also in the Wall Street Journal and all major markets, but honestly, that part was a surprise to me. And I didn't know that. All I knew was that I had to tell the stories that were relevant to my life, and everyone is named. And it's funny to me how everyone is so concerned about naming the celebrities, but no one is concerned about me naming the man that raped me when I was 13. And how his life is going to be now. You know what I mean? And so it just shows me that we're in a celebrity hypnotized society.
But you were hypnotized by the celebrity
exactly,
at once,
which
so
is the
you
whole
can
point of the
understand
book.
why people are so into
exactly,
it.
which is what's so ironic and so wonderful, because that's the point of the book. You know, just being hypnotized by that and just really wanting a place to belong and needing a family, needing love, and thinking sex and love are equated, and that's why there's a lot of sex in the book. And each time I have sex with someone, you'll read in the book where I say, I just loved him.
Why do you say that? Because I noticed that. I noticed that you would have sex with this guy and you said that you loved him.
Yeah,
What was that emotion that you were feeling, and why would you say something like that?
Because in my head I did. because...
Even when, because in the book she says that she'd have sex with somebody and then they'd get up and then they'd leave, or they'd tell you to leave. So how could you equate that with love?
I was never told to leave. I just think that, you know, I spent years with people. There's hardly anyone, there's a few, maybe one or two in there where it was uncomfortable and we separated. Jay-Z was like that, Dr. Dre was like that, where you just know you're better off being acquaintances and not lovers and you stay friends afterwards. There are people in there that I stayed with for years, just off and on. But everyone would have to go. No one lived where I lived. They had lives other places. And so...
Have you upset people from writing this book?
I haven't heard anything from anyone. The people that are most upset will be my mother and my ex, because they were the most brutal to me. And I was honest about that. Brutality, and that upsets them.
So these rappers aren't upset that you wrote about them?
No, they're fine, because there are so many things that I left out. The things that, I got a lot of calls.
So if you ran into Usher, or you ran into Jay-Z, or you ran into, they're like, hey, Karrine, it's cool?
Well, we haven't been cool for years, you know what I mean? So it's not like I've had friendships all this time. These are people that I haven't spoken to, with the exception of Usher, who I haven't spoken to in years. And so when we do see each other, and we do, Four Seasons brunch, and you just kind of pass each other, and you do one of these, and you just keep going.
Because I'll admit, if somebody wrote something about me in a book, I'd be pissed off.
Yeah, people wrote things about me in songs. So I've been pissed off before. I've been written about in magazines, you know, that were lies, and I've been pissed off before too. You know, so I know how it feels. But the difference is that the things that were written about me weren't the truth. And this is the truth. And I tell them, as I tell everyone, if your name is in this book and you see something that you don't like, then you shouldn't have done it.
So do you think that you wrote this book because of revenge, out of revenge?
No, see, revenge is something that happens when people are miserable and upset and
But weren't
bitter.
you miserable and upset
Not when
and
I wrote
bitter?
this book. Not when I wrote this book.
Karrine, I have to disagree with you, because when I read the book, you were saying that you're really upset that, you know, that you were down and out, that these were the guys that you would go out with and wine and dine and spend a lot of money and hang out.
Yeah.
And then you had
But
your
I
rock
still
bottom.
have that lifestyle now.
No,
The
but I'm
lifestyle
saying,
hasn't
but I'm talking about your rock bottom. And you hit a rock bottom where you were homeless, living in the car with your son,
Absolutely.
freezing to death, and using jackets to stay
But
warm.
all of that was my fault.
No, but
That
I'm saying,
wasn't their
what I'm
fault.
saying is you called these guys and said, I need some help.
Yeah.
And
And
none of
they
them
said
helped
no.
you. None of them helped you.
The same man who wrote me a $10,000 check on our first date wouldn't help me. Everything that happened to me was my fault. I did it to myself.
But then
I
why name
allowed
names?
people-
If there's no anger, why name the names?
Why not? It's just the truth. And so now that I've healed, it feels right to say, you know what? Let's not give this a pretty name anymore. Let's not say I was hanging out. Let's not say I wasn't. I was prostituting myself and selling myself for a lot less than I'm actually worth. You know,
Well, we're going to talk about that some more.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I want to hear from you guys out there, because I know you're going, Tyra, say this. Tyra, ask her that. So we're going to hear from you guys. We're going to give some questions to Karrine, and we'll be back when we return. Up next, more secrets revealed from the video vixen, Karrine Steffans.
People expect me to be ashamed. And I think that it bothers a lot of people that I'm not ashamed.
It doesn't bother me that you're not ashamed. What bothers me is I think you do know exactly what you did.
When you get a cold, you can't always slow down. But you can feel better, faster, with NyQuil each night and DayQuil each day. Together, they'll give you the relief you need to keep going. So leave the coughing, aching, and fever behind with NyQuil each night and DayQuil each day. Feel better, faster.
Why do we love going out to eat? Being together with friends? Our favorite dishes? Yes. Introducing new Corner Bistro from Stouffer's. Restaurant-inspired entrees you can now enjoy at home. Try our full menu of new Corner Bistro entrees and see what's cooking at Stouffer's.
If you wanna bust loose, wanna change your style, be somebody else for a little while, put some color in your hair, easy, do it anywhere, with Pro Color Accents from Karrine. Do you wanna go retro?
I don't know.
How about contemporary?
Who cares? It's temporary.
The color stays for days or just an hour. You got it going on till you wash it in the shower. Use it for the prom. It's the bomb.
You know what? It even looks good on your mom.
Do a little, do a lot, play it cool and make it hot. And now you got an accent. Ooh la la. Ooh la la. There's nothing to mix, just pick your color. Click it in a roller, check it out. Holla, be a color.
Call to order today. Conair's Pro Color Accents comes with 18 trays of color that won't stain your clothes and won't harm your hair. The complete kit even includes an extra brush, a touch-up comb, and batteries, and it's just $29.99.
We're back with the controversial author of Confessions of a Video Vixen, Karrine Steffans. Now, the views expressed in her book are not mine, and I want to make this very clear, that I have no idea if these allegations are true or not. Now, this book is a cautionary tale. Who's this a cautionary tale to?
Well, what's happening is that a lot of women have unrealistic views of this part of the industry. You have a lot of young girls who want to, at a very early age, just be video girls, and they think that that's modeling. I get emails on my website, which I have been getting for over the last 2 years, of people asking me, how do they get into this? I want to be a model, so how do I get into the next yin yang video? Or, you know, and I have to explain them that's not modeling, and I've never been a model, and that's not what it is, and that's not how it happens. They're actually changing their minds about what they thought the industry was like, thinking that nothing bad ever happens, and life is essentially like a video, and it's just not.
Well, it depends on the choices that you make.
Well, it depends on the choices that you make,
Yeah.
but a lot of us, unfortunately, are being ill-informed. A lot of us are just aren't being told. You know, I wish that I had, you know, people around me. I wish that I had a family base. A lot of women do have, and they have a family, and they have friends, and have people who care, and they're educated better than I was. But many women and young girls aren't as educated as we should be.
Well, I want to take some questions
Yeah.
from the audience.
I'd like to know, based on the subject matter and the content of the book, why would you dedicate a book like this to your son?
Because this is my life story, and this is a subject matter not just of my book, but of my life. And my son went through a lot of this with me. When I slept in the car, he was the only person in the car with me.
But you put your son, and you dedicated your book to the son, which means it opens it up to his school, because his name is in the book.
His first name's in the book. A lot of children are named Naeem.
Yeah, but you pick him up at school, and you look just like this.
Okay,
So
and all the
that's you.
parents are going to be, I'm in the PTA. I feel that people expect me to be ashamed. And all my life, I've been expected to be ashamed of who I am. And I'm not, and I think that it bothers a lot of people that I'm not ashamed. And a lot of us spend our lives being ashamed of who we are and what we've done, and are afraid to share that with our children.
It doesn't bother me that you're not ashamed. I admire the fact that you're not ashamed. I think what bothers me is that I think you are a very smart woman, you're very articulate, and I think you do know exactly what you did. And you knew that naming names would be the thing that makes the press, because you were attracted to that. You're attracted to names, you're attracted to celebrity, and I think you do understand that naming these names means that, you know, this is gonna get attention.
Okay.
And I want you to be honest and sit here and be honest with me.
Well, you know what? I just wrote the book, and my publisher made that decision. Initially, the book had no names in it, and there are a lot of things that have been taken out.
But the publisher can only make the decision of what you agree with.
The publisher made the decision, and I agreed with it because I felt that it was the truth, and it was actual. I didn't hide anything in that book.
You just said you hid a lot.
Well, I mean, of all the things that were written, I didn't hide names and places and dates to protect people. This isn't a book about protection. It's a book about honesty and confessions, both on my side and hopefully on theirs.
How mad were you at those rappers that didn't support you during your time?
Not mad at all, because I went back to them. It wasn't like they said no to me and then I was like, oh, that's it, I'm out of here, I'm gonna write a book. It was okay, I went back, they gave me more money, I hung out, I still took the trips, I still did all of that. And then I left, because I knew.
Not every single one of these guys.
Every single one of
Not
these guys.
every single one. You didn't go back to every single one of them.
Well, the ones that had the most money, the ones that were flying me around, because I was homeless, at the time. I was homeless at the time, and I had to find a way to get back on my feet. So in the back of my head, I know, okay, you don't care about me. Because when I told you I was getting evicted, you said, whatever. So now I said, hey, everything's fine. Oh yeah, that was just, you know, that was a bad week, I'm fine now. Okay, here you go, more money. I knew that if I wasn't the party girl anymore, then they wouldn't take care of me.
Karrine Steffans, thank you for being here. And thank you for being honest. You're dying inside, aren't you? I haven't been the hardest on you. I've seen your interviews, and there have been people that are super duper duper hard on you. This was actually a walk in the park.
Maybe I just wasn't in the mood for it today. I'm moody.
You're moody?
Yeah.
Well, you came on, and hopefully you're on a better step to get your life in the right direction.
Absolutely. We'll be right back.
Up next, what mega pop star wanted to have Dennis Rodman's baby? You had relations with her.
Yeah.
And then
I ain't gonna lie, hell yeah.
Who knows what's sexy?